Welcome to Big Blue News, live show edition. I'm Nick.
And I'm Mike.
And I'm Ben. It's an honor to be here for the Big Blue News live show.
Yeah, this is our first live show here, so it's awesome to be here with these guys. We've never done this before, but we're ready for it. We got a great show today.
We're ready.
Ready to have fun.
On Friday, January 10th, the Swampscott High School basketball team played against Saugus and won 63-56. In a very hostile environment, first-year center Oscar Hale had a night to remember. He finished with a triple-double, 20 points, 16 rebounds, and 10 blocks.
A very impressive performance in a game the team really needed him. During the game, it started to get nasty as some Saugus coaches, fans, and players got into it with others from Swampscott.
The refs quickly handled everything, and many people were thrown out. There were good efforts from Liam Hamilton, Justin Ratner, and Jake Cook, who all played extremely well throughout the game, leading the team to a close victory.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes in high school, emotions are going to rise and people are going to act differently, and you got to love that attitude from both teams competing, and happy we came out on top.
Great job by Oscar, too.
Yeah,
Good
seriously.
job by the whole team overall. Recently, Rebecca Vu and Alyssa Bates went out to interview SHS's own Miss Byrne to see the impact her art class and after-school clay club has on the community.
Hi, my name is Miss Byrne, and I am one of the art teachers here at Swampscott High School. Well, there's a lot of students, mainly outside of the classes that I teach, who are really interested in clay, and I wanted to give them an opportunity to keep making, even though they didn't have the opportunity to take a ceramics class this semester. Well, one of the main things is students that don't have the opportunity to take an art class can still be making art. So like the way that electives work here at Swampscott High School, sometimes you have to kind of choose a track. So there are students who are taking a lot of music classes that can then come and be in Clay Club, or students that are taking TV media, things like that. They can come and be making art even though they can't take an art class. Well, one of the things that as a teacher that I think about a lot is the things that are affecting my students and the things that they are thinking about on a day-to-day basis. And so this felt really right because a lot of my students were affected by Michael's passing recently. And so we were trying to think of something that felt productive to be doing in the meantime. And so I'm just listening to my kids. So it was something that a lot of them were struggling with and trying to find an outlet to put their energy towards. And so I was trying to think of something that could make them feel like they were doing something good for their community. I'm also a really big advocate for mental health, and I like talking about it with my students. I like making it less of a stigma to talk about. It was amazing. So it was held at the Swampscott Club, and right at 7 o'clock when the event started, the place filled up. There were so many people there, and so it was a really great experience because it was so successful, and it felt really good to be in the room and see people buying stuff that we had made. We ended up raising $1,587 for the NAN Project, which is an organization that works to provide mental health programs and suicide prevention programs to young people across Massachusetts. So it felt really good to be raising money for such a good cause and then also be making art in the meantime. So it was very successful. My favorite part about teaching art, getting to hang out with my kids. It's a lot of fun, especially at this point. I'm in my third year here at Swampscott High School, and I have a lot of students who have now taken multiple classes with me. And so over the course of a number of years, I can get to know them and the type of art they like to make and what's going on in their lives and things like that. So just building those relationships with my students through art is a lot of fun.
We are so lucky to have someone like Miss Byrne in our school here. If you have nothing to do after school, or you have nothing to do with your time at all, really, you should just go to art clay after school because it's so good.
Yeah, it's really good.
With the fairly recent legalization of marijuana in Massachusetts, questions have been raised about its effects on teenagers. Chris E. and Cameo Sage Tafay decided to interview Miss Ignaciola to get answers.
teenage brains are still developing. The brain does not stop developing until somebody is about 25. So particularly for adolescents, marijuana use is very bad. So for multiple reasons, it can affect attention, the ability to learn, memory, impaired judgment, and also even after the effects of a high have worn off, research has shown that kids still are not learning as well as they could, even after they are no longer high. And obviously, with the laws changing in Massachusetts, marijuana is now legal as well. So I think it's kind of how you frame the question. Marijuana for some people can have a medical benefit, especially for things like seizures. So there are some children that might be prescribed that by a doctor and it has a medical value. I think that the biggest concern is probably when we do have accessibility and new shops available, it can pose the the issue of getting it into the hands of teenagers. So when something's around the corner and it's easy for somebody to get something, it can go into the high school directly. So I think that the community has to work together to make sure that there is a strict, checking of IDs, and it's not really easy for kids to just go in and use something like a fake ID, which kids can do, and making sure that it does not get into the hands of teenagers who shouldn't be having it. First of all, it's not legal. Second of all, they might not be using it how they want to responsibly. I mean, legalizing it for some people, once again, if it's being used for like a medical purpose or if it's being used responsibly at home, that's one thing versus people who are chronic heavy users that can actually really inhibit their ability to live a healthy life.
I mean, we're also lucky to have someone like Miss Ignaciola who knows so much about something that is really important this day and age, so it's good to get her knowledge on that.
Yeah, she's a great teacher too. She's only been here for a little while, but she's making a big impact.
Yeah, she's fitting in perfectly too. She's great.
Yeah. SHS hockey is off to a great start. Nick Reiser and Zach Marks interviewed the captains of the hockey team who are on a track for 100 points.
What part of your game do you feel is your strongest or best attribute on the ice?
Definitely my competitiveness, as you can tell, not too big. So I get in there in the corners, not scared. It's just part of the game. It's how we play.
Obviously, near 100 goals, 100 points. How much practice and preparation does going into getting a reward of scoring a goal or an assist 100 times in a career?
Every time you step on that ice, you got to give it your all, 100% every time. Every minute, every second counts. So work hard in practice, benefit in the game.
And with a winning record right now, are the playoffs and the tournament in mind?
It's 50-50. You don't really want to think about playoffs right now, but we also want to get into the tournament. So we just got to keep on getting our record going, keep winning, and look for the future.
Some of Swampscott's best hockey players were able to score 100 points. How does it feel to be included in that conversation as some of the best players in town history?
I don't know if I'm one of the best players in town history, but it's an honor to be in the conversation for 100 points. I would not be where I am today without a bunch of my teammates. Some that stick out the most are Connor Donovan, Zach Outwell, Ronan Locke, and my brother, Louis Oliveri. He really helped me become the player I am today.
With a very small senior class for the Swampscott hockey team, what does it say about the people on the ice around you, putting you in position to capitalize 100 times?
I don't think we have a big senior class at all, just 4 of us. But I think it's the right group of guys, and they've helped me tremendously. Each and every one of us have been putting in work since freshman year, and I think it goes to show just how close we are as a group of seniors. Tyler Seller, Connor Donovan, Chris Barnes, and me.
And with Swampscott being a very sport-driven town, how much does the support from family, friends, and fans help you guys lead your team?
From the little kids to the high schoolers to the high school alums to the old townies, just helps us so much as a team. be where we are today with all the support they give us. And it's just great. I think it's great for the community and great when they all show up to the games. We wouldn't be where we are without them today at all.
Well, that's all for today with Drew Alveri, and be sure to watch Drew Alveri close in on 100 goals. Thank you.
I got the chance to sit down with both of those captains, and those are some humble guys who are doing the right thing on the ice. So we got to be proud of them here. 100-point scorers.
That's crazy.
And just watching them go out every day and compete is really fun. And I think they're special. They have been since they got here as a freshman. So hats off to them on a great career here.
Also, Griffin Brum, Tyler Seller,
Yeah,
notable names,
Yep.
great players.
exactly.
Yeah, all of them.
Our final story today is one that ties directly into our own TV studio. In order to uncover the future of public access television, Ben Hansen and Alan Morales interviewed Mr. Reed and Mr. Duet, the figureheads of the Swampscott High television program.
Town of Swampscott has a government access channel and an educational access channel. And all of it is really run by the school, the person in my position, and the students. So we do all the filming of all the town meetings, and we also run our own channel here at the high school. So our relationship with the town of Swampscott is that we are kind of the media for the town, and it's an exciting relationship because then the students can really get incorporated into what's happening in the town by going and filming, various regulatory board meetings, going and filming events, going and filming ceremonies, working with the aging population in the senior center on their events. So it really allows the students to have an integral role in what's happening in the town, and allows the town to really respect and appreciate the work of the students in the town.
I think educational public access is a tremendous benefit. As I've said before, I wouldn't be here if way back when the government hadn't decided that the cable companies should give a small percentage of their income to towns to create public access. So I think it gives kids an opportunity to do something that's both real world and also on their level. It helps spread the news about what's going on in the school. Individual kids can express what's in their minds and their hearts. And I think it would be a shame if the funding were lost. Having said that, I think there are some ways to get some funding from other sources. My students and I used to run an auction every year that the town would support. And I know the town has worked with Mr. Gillette, and he's done work for them. So there are ways to get some funding, but in the digital era, I think equipment is more expensive than ever, and there are more things you can do if you have the funding.
I think that the school and the town have really committed to having local origination and access for the government and the schools to be part of the program. So I'm actually working with the town now to start thinking about what happens when our revenue from the cable TV, from the cable providers decreases. And I have heard nothing but support for figuring that out. The people who are in charge of the town now really see the benefit of this. We're setting things up now to be a little bit more economically self-reliant. So I see this continuing for a long time, even if the cable providers are giving us less and less revenue from the subscribers in town.
I've been working 4 years with Mr. Duet, and it's amazing. Each year we get new types of classes and other things. It's great.
I've been with Mr. Dula for like 2 years. This is
2
my
years
second
now.
year. Yeah, and yeah, it's gonna be hard to see this class go.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss it.
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said about the people who put the work in behind the scenes for us, like Mr. Duet and Mr. Reed, preparing us for these classes that really give us some experience and maybe a potential career could be someday. So
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to be said
It's
there.
really popular
Yeah.
Many
this year,
thanks.
yeah.
So what they do is great. So
Like Michael Ferragamo, he wants to try becoming a weatherman, if you know what I mean.
yeah,
Trying to make a career out of
Yeah.
this.
and this is a great opportunity to try that
yeah,
out.
to
So
try it outside, and these guys are given a good opportunity.
Well, that just about does it for the Big Blue News live show. But before we go, everyone here would like to wish a very happy birthday to Mr. Duet. We wouldn't be here without him. And thank you.
Happy birthday, Mr. Duet, and thank you.
happy birthday, Mr. Duet. But for his present, everyone make sure to like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll see you all around.
See ya.